Good morning, everyone. Last time we left you, we got the van home. Well, guess what? Today, we've got the big chore of unpacking this beast. And, well, it's probably going to be a lot easier to unpack than it was to pack in. But we did jam this full, and it had all of our possessions. And so there's a lot of meaningful stuff in there to us. But we are planning a excursion, a journey in the van, and so we definitely need to get it cleaned. We also have stuff in the van that we actually need for daily living, mainly clothes and some tools. So today we're going to be clearing out the van, going through our stuff, and we're going to get into some other stuff as well. So I had Vanna out here, and I was just sitting by the van, and we were enjoying our time outside. It's a beautiful day. And all of a sudden, she just, on her own accord, climbed up the stairs into the van, and she went to the litter box. We actually need to check and make sure she didn't pee in there because there's no litter. But she went in there, and she explored all around the van, all the smells, all that stuff. I had the doors wide open, and she was not in a hurry to get out. I know she's ready for another adventure, but we have one coming up.
Yes.
But we've unpacked most stuff out of the van.
We got to pack some stuff back in it. The stuff that will live in the van, like our dishes, some cups, some stuff that'll stay in the van forever. But our road trip coming up, we're going to go see Curt's parents. So we'll be staying in the van in their yard while we're up there, so we may do a little cooking for ourselves. Most of it will probably be inside with his parents, but we need to get this thing livable again.
Yeah, and for our friends around the world, you know, like everybody always says the U.S. is so big and all that stuff. So we're going to go a couple states away to Oklahoma, which is over 1,000-mile drive, 1,100-mile drive. So we're going to make some stops along the way and have a little bit of adventure, but it's just not around the corner. So we got a long way to go. But first we got to finish this unpack, and kind of more importantly, the task at hand is putting things back in the van that belong.
You can't truly go home again. But standing here on the banks of the Suwannee, I have to disagree. After 6.5 years and 55 countries in the van, Curt and I have finally traded the open road for the river breeze. We haven't just moved back to Florida. We moved back to the exact spot where I grew up. My childhood home, where my dad lived for 50 years, is just a stone's throw away. This isn't just a neighborhood, it's my history. My grandma and grandpa's old river camp is now our front yard, and my Aunt Betsy calls that camp home now. Just look at those massive, majestic oak trees in her yard. They've stood guard over my family for generations. As a kid, these woods were my entire world. I had forts and trails carved out among the ancient oaks and the towering cypress trees. I spent countless hours playing along this shoreline, back when fun was as simple as an old-fashioned rubber inner tube and a rope swing that dumped you right into the tea-colored water. The gators? Well, I'll tell you one thing. They didn't seem quite so plentiful back then, and I sure don't remember them being this big. We'll have to show you the size of these things once they start coming out more in the summer sunshine. But for now, I'm definitely a little more mindful of where I step. Flowing roughly 246 miles from the Okefenokee Swamp up in Georgia down to the Gulf of Mexico, the Suwannee River is a vital artery for Florida's wilderness. Here in Levy County, we're in a truly special stretch. The river is fed by an incredible concentration of freshwater springs, like Manatee, Fanning, and Otter Springs, that pump out millions of gallons of crystal clear water at a constant 72 degrees. Because we're so close to the Gulf, this lower stretch is a critical habitat. While the prehistoric Gulf sturgeon aren't running just yet, they'll migrate in when the water warms up, and we'll show you that in a future video for sure. The river is currently a sanctuary for the West Indian manatees seeking warmth. Now don't think for a second that the van is retired. This is home base. But we'll still be hitting the road for plenty of road trips. For now, there's something incredibly special about sharing this place with Curt, bringing him here to the very spot where I learned to love the outdoors. It just feels like the perfect full circle. Now we've got plenty of work to do on our house and our yard and our porch, but for today, we're just gonna sit here in these chairs along the bank and watch the dark water roll by. Welcome home to my beautiful Suwannee River.
So when we moved in, the stovetop on our range was broken, and it's an electric cooktop, and I guess something dropped on it or whatever. We've been using it, and the other day one of the burners went out, and the surface is hot, light stayed on, and so we were a little concerned it was popping breakers, that we could have a fire hazard. So fortunately we were able to get a new range, and we're excited about that. It's not one of those things that you want to replace in life, but stuff happens and you just got to do it. And so the cool thing is, not only did we get a new range, but we also got the microwave to go on top. And so before, we kind of had a small microwave. Now all this sounds excessive because in the van we didn't have a microwave, we didn't have a big oven, and it just kind of is one of the contrasts between living in the van and living sort of a stationary life. Is, you know, you have more, everything's bigger, and of course everything costs more. Not only do we have to do the new kitchen in here, we have to move all our stuff back into our kitchen there. We pulled most of the stuff out. Dishes and all that stuff were packed up kind of in the same thing. So easy peasy, put the kitchen back together, and we just got a little bit of work to do to get the van ready for the road trip. So let me give you a little update on G-Money, and for that matter, both of the cats. They're both just absolutely loving that we have all the space in the house, and they just they have so much room to run and move, and they're kind of settling in from that perspective. And G Money, every day he's ready to go outside for a long walk, and this place is so good for him. And you guys know he has kidney disease. We haven't been back to the vet since we talked about it last time. He is eating pretty good. For those of you who missed it, he's on a prescription diet. And so he's just doing really good and enjoying this here. The outdoors, the space, the squirrels, the lizards, and all that stuff. And Vanna is too. There's a room for their toys, and we're just so happy for them, and we're enjoying this with them. And I think, as usual, even with the cats, it seems like they adapt more quickly than we do. And I got to tell you guys, I think we've talked about it in almost every video so far, but getting adapted to this new lifestyle has been a bit of a challenge for us. And I don't know if challenge is the right word. I guess every day in life is a challenge, but since we've been here, we've been pouring into family and to Snow's dad and his wife, and we really kind of haven't been spending time to think about what our needs are and what we need to do for those reasons. And yeah, it's just kind of gotten us behind with our videos and our editing and all that type of stuff. And that stuff's important to us because that's how we make a living. And I think we've already discussed to you, you know, how expensive things are here. And for those of you who live here in the US, you already know how expensive they are. But relative to how expensive things are in the rest of the world is what makes it even more shocking. So for those of you who are like, we went into the grocery store the other day and it was like $10 for a stick of deodorant. You know, in another country that'd be $2 or $3. And so, you know, it seems like when we left it would have been $2 or $3. Oh, I hear some deer over there. It would have been $2 or $3 for a stick of deodorant. And you know, that's 7 years ago. So anyway, that's all changed for us. And so that's part of the shocking thing. And there's a lot of other things as well that come with it. And I'm not going to go into all that right now. And I don't want to get off on a note complaining about stuff like that, guys. But it really is just part of making a life change and a lifestyle change. And this life is much different. We'll go into that more in other videos. But anyway, what I've learned from our journey around the world in the last 6.5 years is to get out in the nature. And I just love walking around here with the cats, but also myself, and staring off into the woods. And there's not only is there a nice forest here, but there's loads of deer. There's probably a deer overpopulation, if you will. But there's coons, there's armadillos, there's squirrels, there's a lot of different things. I think there's wild hogs back in here. I think we heard some coyotes howling the other night. There's owls, there's birds. And so there's a lot of stuff. And I've just learned that by getting out in the nature and just going for a walk and enjoying what's around kind of gets me connected and makes everything better. And so we're very fortunate. There's a big section of woods to the north of us here. So I'm going to take you for a little walk. And yeah, we're going to explore these forests along the Suwannee River here in North Florida. All right, right there in front of me is a cardinal, and you may not see it. I will try to walk closer. He's low to the ground. He's about 10 feet off. It's a male. Oh, there he goes. He's on the ground. And in the leaves. He's gonna fly in a minute. Oh, there's the female. So it's a male and a female here. Pretty birds. So this is all private land back here, and as we move through here, of course there's a lock gate to get back in here. So there is some old roads that have been cut over time. I don't know how active any of them are. Looks like this one's pretty good. But we're just gonna kind of stumble our way around back through here, see what we see. I'd be real surprised if we didn't come across some deer. And they are all over out here. And already, just a couple minutes in, I've come across some kind of burrow. And it looks like to be an active burrow. And I don't know. I can definitely see deer tracks along the trail here. And it looks like, but anyway, yeah, that could be anything from possum to probably a coon or something like that. Armadillo. I think armadillos like to dig holes as well. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna keep on moving through here. Now, one thing that's cool about this North Florida is they have these beautiful live oaks, and they are just gorgeous trees, especially as they kind of expand their branches out, their wingspan, if you will. These older trees are just so gorgeous, twisting trunks and branches. It'd be nice to get up in here and clean some of this out so you could see really kind of some of the beauty of these trees. There's a thick scrub bush down below, palmettos, other small oaks. It's kind of like a thicket, if you will. Here we go, guys. All journeys start with a fork in the road, don't they? Which way are we gonna go? So we got three alternatives. This one looks more like a little deer trail and an old path. It looks like the middle path has been had a little more recent traffic. And that's a pretty big path off to the left. Now, a quick turn to the left. The one I'm gonna take is the animal path here. And this is the direction towards the river. I'm probably a mile away from the river, I'm guessing. And so I'm not sure if we'll work our way back there. I'd like to. There's some big cypress, and it just looks different up by the river than it does back here in these little oak hammocks and shrubby patches. But there are deer tracks all over. And I think I've also seen some raccoon tracks. Well, let's be quiet for a little bit. Maybe we'll see something. So you could see the trail, the terrain that we've been walking up, and all of a sudden we come to an area like this. Now, to me, this is likely an area where some wild boars, some wild hogs have rooted around, and they'll get in here and root up bugs and roots and other stuff in this sand. Now, not 100% because it's a little bit old and it's been rained on a few times, but I do know there's a lot of wild hogs out here. And also, look at this big opening. So we'll come take a peek at the opening, and then we'll continue to move down the trail. Look at it, it's beautiful back in here, guys. And this is kind of cleared out again, and they've left all these big, beautiful oaks. Look at this. All right, guys. Here's definitely another burrow here. And you can see there is fresh sand right there. So if you guys know what that is, again, not sure if it's a turtle, an armadillo, maybe even a possum. But nonetheless, that's an active little burrow right there, den if you will. And so I should add that this has been family hunting ground for, I don't know, generations. And you can see up here is a fancy deer stand. Don't worry, guys, that's not like a security guard gate or anything like we've seen some places around the world. But I'll tell you, that's a fancy deer stand right there. And that deer stand gives you the ability to look right up here. And of course, we've already seen there's an active trail that way. And it also gives them a little look down here, and possibly there's been a trail down there. And then you get a look coming the other way. So you could just get the deer coming right down this area. You can see through here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's probably a deer trail right there. And if you were to follow that trail directly to the south, that'd probably take you into about where our house is. But it looks like this is a low spot right here, up here. So maybe like a little area of cypress trees. But the natural trail comes to an end. And, oh, I gotta get a peek at this. Now, I haven't told you guys this, but Snow tells me all the time that this is snake area. And here they have cottonmouths, they have water moccasins, and they have diamondback rattlesnakes, and they also have copperheads. So there's 4 poisonous snakes in this area, and so I gotta be careful. Now, I've hiked all around the world. Some of you guys know, I mean, all over, and a lot of people are always asking me about snakes, and to be honest with you, I haven't seen too many. And Snow says, well, that's not going to be the same back here. So I'm sorry if my microphone is clanking, or my camera's clanking against the microphone. Oh, I heard something move. Something big. But this is definitely a place where out here where the hogs have rooted around. And there's a little trail on the other side of this, a wildlife trail. I gotta get through these thistles to get over here. It'll make a little noise, so whatever it is over here doesn't get us. Oh, the things I'll do to entertain you guys. Look at this. Okay, so this is definitely a low spot back in here, and there is cypress trees and some other kind of trees back in here. There's no water. This is kind of a dry time of year. I'm not gonna follow the little trail. If you guys can see right along here, this is all wildlife trails back in here. This is not human trails. Maybe one day I'll widen this out a little bit so we can have a good look. But I think during rainy season, this will probably fill up with water and take on a whole different look. So someday in the future, I'll show you that. Let's get out of here and kind of keep moving up this trail. So I've come back and turned right. And again, at some point in time, this has been cleared maybe probably for a fire break. And there hasn't been nothing back here, but mostly wildlife, and every once in a while I'm sure a stray human, but not much. We really are in the wild nature. Now that's fresh right over there. If you see that area right there, there was a pig wallering in that not too long ago. You can still see as we get up here where his hide was and his feet was, and he was just laying right there wallering in that mud. Actually, are those bear tracks? I better get a good look at that, because guys, if that's bear tracks, we definitely need to be careful. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure it's where a wild boar got in there, or wild hog wallered out. But there are definitely some other animal tracks that probably come up here to get some water. Or maybe raccoons to wash down their food. Wow. We are in the wild, in our backyard, and I like it. I didn't have my camera on. But right through that, there he is right there. See the deer? I was gonna say, I saw him flush out of there. I saw his white tail, and he just crossed out there. And I was just gonna say that there are signs of wildlife everywhere back here. So I'm not surprised we saw that deer, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a half a dozen more back in here with him. But man, I missed him on my camera. You can see under this palmetto scrub, there's another burrow. Now this one is under the root ball of a tree, so I think this is less likely to be a gopher turtle and more likely to be an armadillo or a possum, my guess. There's just, as you come down through here, all through here, you can see there's established trail, wildlife trails, and of course this is the main road, but there are all sorts of little secondary paths, and the way they're kind of knocked out naturally, it really looks like a deer because it has a little bit more height than like a wild hog would have. But nonetheless, once that trail gets established, a lot of the other critters use it. Oh, there's 2 deer, 3 deer right in front of us. See their big white tails sticking out into the woods. So anyway, as I said, there's trails. So like these guys came out of one trail and just darted into another. Pretty cool, huh, guys? Feels good to get out in the nature. I didn't have the camera on, but we just had one of those typical Florida sun showers. And although it's not really the time of year for them, we're kind of on the edge of winter and spring. The rains are coming, believe me. But it's about 70, 72 degrees today, and the sun is hot. And all of a sudden, it just started kind of a heavy sprinkle, light rain. Only for about 5 minutes. I hid under one of these big, beautiful oak trees. But guys, there is a threat of, even though the sun's out, the threat of rain is increasing. And I've got all my camera gear, including my big camera. I did see another deer, but man, I haven't been able to get my big camera on him. So anyway, we're gonna start heading back, and hopefully we'll pick something up along the way. Shoes.
Shoes.
I have shoes.
The shot glass. Our hiking shoes. Oh, Nanner. Toy.
Toy for Nanner. Sneakers. Hiking shoes
Another shot glass.
that we'll never use. Rain ponchos.
Oh, lots of toys. Nanner.
Uh-oh, more toys for the kitties, and Nana's already on hers. Whoa, look at all those toys, Vanna.
Alright, lots of shoes.
Casual
For some
dress
reason,
shoes.
Lots of shot glasses that we've never used. Oh, our mosquito killer. That should stay in the van, I guess.
2 of them, one in the van, one here.
Clothes. Let's see. Oh, there's
Warm clothes, it looks like. Other
yeah,
hiking
these are our
shoes.
winter clothes. So this. Yeah. What's this? Oh, flea medicine for the kitties. More toys, dear. More toys. They're everywhere.
She's happy.
Yeah.
She likes toys.
What we got here? I see more toys. Oh, guess what this is?
Our YouTube plaque. Look at there.
There it is.
Safe and sound, it made the journey.
And there we go. And our camera and long tripod. All right.
All right, one down, one to go.
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!